cake.
Oh no! Oh, the
I
broadcast is
know.
live.
And we're
Okay.
live.
I was waiting for the music. I was like, hey,
Oh, the music.
that's okay, but we're live now. We are live now. Do it, girls
But that's
and
the whole
guys.
purpose.
Go to Tracey Brown Live.
You started this whole thing. My son was like, "Oh, I gotta do this. If
Tracey Brown.
Gio can do it, I could do it."
Tracey Brown. Tracey Brown.
So tomorrow I'm gonna have
Hmm.
a woman that does numbers,
Oh, numerology. Okay.
numerology. Listen to me.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
For the first hour, and then
Mm-hmm.
Takira for the second hour.
Yes. Excellent. Good. Get her. Get her on. Get her in front of the camera.
I like the history part
Yes. Mm-hmm.
of black blackity black. I like the history part of it. So
Right.
many of
Right.
us are misled by history.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. So many of us, black and white.
Well,
It's when they
the
don't
real
even, we don't get
problem,
it, and they don't get it.
well,
We're not
but the
getting it.
the
It's
real
suppressed.
problem is white. That's the real problem. We
Mm-hmm.
feel the history. Even if we
Mm-hmm.
don't know it, we feel it.
Mm-hmm.
But for most of us to be grown up in history and not be told the truth
Mm-hmm.
is a disservice to white folks. You know, when I was watching The Bachelor and Matt kept saying to Rachel, do the work. And he goes, I know you're going to do the work.
Mm-hmm.
And I remember thinking, one, she's not doing the work
Mm-hmm.
because
She doesn't understand what he
she
means.
doesn't understand. Yeah. Because Emmanuel was even like, what are you doing? She
Mm-hmm.
couldn't answer the question. And I was like,
Mm-hmm.
oh. So what I figured out as they were talking, I was like, she needs black history. She
Mm-hmm.
needs she needs black
Mm-hmm.
blackity black history.
Right, right.
So and she's not going to learn that in the deep south. They don't offer that.
They don't have it. From what I
Yeah.
understand, someone told me in Texas they just don't have it in the textbooks that they use. They do not have it. How can you learn it or know that there's something you
Did
are
you
missing?
have it? I didn't have it
I
in
had it, but
history.
from
What
one of the
did you
things we were
have?
talking about, I grew up in kind of a bubble because I grew up in New Haven and I grew up in
Oh,
an area where everybody's parents worked for Yale, whether you were a
oh,
professor, children of
got it,
professors,
got it.
or and even if it wasn't Yale, it was Quinnipiac, New Haven area of New Haven has so many colleges. So it was like a deep college town, and then
Mm.
also I think I think we grew up in a particular pocket of time. Also, remember I was saying we were talking the other night about Roots. The
Yes,
television series Roots came out when I was 10 years old.
yeah,
So in this country had a full moment for a few years where it was
yeah.
like, okay, yes, we have to get
History.
Black history into the
Yes.
schools. Now I don't know if
Into
it
the regular
remained
schools or into the
into
colleges?
the regular schools because
Wow,
once
I never
so
got
at
that.
10 years old, then from then on the schools the elementary schools that I went to, they talked about slavery in history. So that's why I think it was a particular pocket of time. Now once I left school, I don't know what happened during the rest of the 80s. Did they
Well,
phase it out, or
no,
was it
no,
just
it
not
was
happening all over the
no,
country?
no, it wasn't that because I
Hmm.
remember when my
Hmm.
sister went to Lehman College,
Hmm.
there
Hmm.
was a Black History program. So
Hmm.
I remember the colleges had a
Right,
continuation of this
right,
Roots event,
right,
not the high schools.
right. And I also do remember my aunt, whom you met once. Um, she was going to Albertus Magnus College, and her boyfriend was going to was going to Yale Law School. He was the host of a TV show, a local college TV show called Keep It Real. And Yale University had an extensive African history major. So he was deeply involved in that, and my whole family was deeply involved.
Yeah.
So I got it. I got it, and my family taught us, especially once Roots came out. Then I come from a huge family on both sides, so everyone was talking about it. Everyone was teaching it.
Yeah.
So I got it. I got it, I think, solidly from school and from my family, from my grandmother, my mother's mother especially.
You know, go ahead. You know,
so that's how I got it. And I assumed everyone had it that way, but that's not true.
No. Yeah. If I had an impression at all of truthful Black history, truth.
Yes, right.
And truth.
Exactly.
I do kind of remember something about slaves being mentioned in my history book. You remember history books were this thick.
Right.
And I remember hating history.
Right.
And I remember saying to myself, Tracey, all you're doing is reading, right?
Right.
It's literature. It's retention. Exactly. All you're doing is reading. Why are you hating history class so much? But being young, 16, 17, you don't know. Because it's history 1, history 2, history 3, history 4.
Right.
You damn near had to take history for 4 years in high school, at least 2 years. And hated every moment of history. Only now do I recognize from an internal place of Black history that I was mad because the books were never telling the truth. Never.
Right. Exactly.
Not what I got.
And I mean, it's such a combination also. I was a terrible student in high school, because being a student also takes a certain skill. And they try to teach you how to be a student. You don't want to be a student. You want to be talking to your friends. You're going through puberty. Everything is popping. Life is popping.
I like
and so
being a student.
You're not pulling it. I didn't. And also because I didn't know how. I didn't really start drinking in a whole lot of knowledge until after high school was over, because everybody, now we're in an era where we learn, you know what? People learn differently. Everybody doesn't learn by sitting in a chair and having a teacher who's bored teach you from a book that's boring and ask you to retain that boring information. Why? How does this pertain to me? So now we're in an era where it's, people, they know that a whole lot of people have dyslexia. And then once they learn that they're dyslexic, then they learn that they're a genius, actually. Whereas there's an entire generation of people who were never diagnosed with dyslexia or how to handle it, and they, they're written off. They don't get the education because it's painful and traumatic for them. So there's a lot to it, but I guess once, like I said, once I got out of high school and I began to get interested in things, once you're interested in it, you can learn a whole course in 3 hours.
Well, that happened to me. I couldn't stand algebra. I couldn't stand geometry.
Right.
And calculus, don't even try calculus on me. Like, those were my rough years, right?
Yeah, right.
But I get to college and I want to be a psychologist. So statistics is the course of math for psychology. Boom, boom. Had no problems with statistics.
Exactly.
It all made sense. All the numbers made sense to me.
You're going to laugh when I tell you, they're at the door.
Go.
They were at the door a few minutes ago. Okay, well, let me put my thing on and mute. Okay.
So Geo is getting food, and so let's just discuss Sharon a little bit. Uh, Screw Sharon. Let's discuss Cheryl a little bit. What do you guys? Am I frozen? Oh, there you go. I was like, that looked frozen. Hi, guys. Much love, ladies. I'll be doing the dishes while watching. That's okay. Do your dishes, girl. Hi, that's Magic Mermaid. KB, hello. Love and Life, hello. Erin Taylor, I admire the way Cheryl handled the situation. She could have really cursed out Sharon in the worst way, but she kept it immensely professional on all levels. Here's what I have to say to that. I want you to be mindful that you don't always have to be immensely professional. All right. You can blend your communication skills kind of with being professional and being a Kamala Harris, right? Because there just comes a time when you need to tell a Karen, stop, stop. You're getting out of control here, and we're live. You see how that maybe could have been handled even better? So everyone's praising Cheryl, but Cheryl was still reacting in a disciplined way. And we all, listen, let's give Cheryl a lot of credit. It's not always going to work. Sometimes you got to stop a Karen in their tracks. And you don't have to get all blackety black. Trust and believe that. So, yes, Cheryl did a good job. Cheryl could have did better. And that's a mix between Cheryl, her personality, and a Kamala. Excuse me, I'm talking. If Cheryl would have just added a little bit of gumption to her discipline, she'd have dropped that ball. And I'm telling you, all of it would have been even more beautiful. What you're saying, Erin, in terms of she handled it immensely professional, you're saying, no fault of your own, but you're saying because that's the way the white man expects it. It was okay for Sharon to get all ghetto. Answer me! Answer me! That was okay. Cheryl handled it the best way that she could. In the future, I'm telling all of you, shut Karen down professionally. Excuse me, you are out of control, young lady. You are out of control. Shut the tone down. Bring it down. That too would have been professional. Just trying to teach everyone. Because being submissive is what they expect of you. Challenging the Karens publicly? Oh, you better challenge them, hoes. You better challenge them.
You know what I think? What I think is Sharon has been allowed to be that edgy rock and roll wife, the edgy rock and roller. And that's what she built her career on since they started that reality show that they did. Everyone thought it was cute. Look at this older woman who swears like a sailor on television. Because she's a rock and roll wife and her husband is a heavy metal rocker. And they're so earthy. They're so earthy. And she tells it. That whole thing again, she tells it like it is and whatnot.
The truth of the matter
it doesn't work anymore.
She was a horrible mother. You want to know the truth?
Yes, tell us the truth, please.
Okay.
Tea for the beet. Wait, tell me the beet juice.
She was a horrible mother. What you saw was an example of dysfunctional generational issues live. To then mask it behind money and a reality show. That's what they did. She was trash. Sorry. Not sorry. She was trash. I didn't revere her.
Right.
You know, again, to me, it was like Black History, where I'm like, huh, that's how I used to watch the show. Like,
Mm-hmm.
hmm, hmm. All right.
And they thought it was funny. Her kids swore like sailors too,
Because
because they were allowed
she was
to.
raising trash. Generationally, she put
Mhm,
herself into her children. That's
mhm,
what we do.
mhm.
She was raising herself. Trash. They were all trash. And didn't Kelly prove it when she came on The
Right,
View? She proved it.
right. And there's an attitude of, you know what I mean, when you watch that thing,
That's
when you watch
exactly
the
what
Kelly,
Kelly said.
right, when you watch Kelly, she actually says, "Oh, come on, you know I didn't mean
Oh,
it that way,"
come
and it
on.
was, and it was
And
like,
it was like, well,
so,
what
so
did you
she's
mean?
supposed, so you're supposed to sit there and not have feelings about what she's saying. That she just used people from your culture while you're
Yep,
sitting right there at the table with her, and
yep,
she uses that as an excuse, and
yep.
it doesn't work anymore. It doesn't work
It
anymore.
should
You
have never
can't.
worked,
It
but
should have never worked, but now
now,
we're post COVID, and we're post the first, first edition of Black, or second edition of Black Lives Matters. It doesn't work anymore after that. It does not work. You cannot have a Sharon Osbourne saying to another, what, black or white, anyone, don't you cry. I'm the one who should be crying. Excuse me? Excuse me? And Sphincter
that
says
took me
what?
out. That 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 took me
That,
out.
yeah,
That took
yeah,
me out.
that,
Because
I think
when
that's what gets her out.
when she
That's
did
what gets her out.
that,
Yeah.
it reminded me of a house slave that had to
Hmm.
breastfeed your children.
Right, right.
Like, and you're tired. Like, you
Hmm.
don't want to breastfeed your
Hmm.
nasty children,
Hmm.
and you go to complain.
Hmm.
And she's like, "Excuse you, I have a
Hmm.
lot to do here. So stick out your breast and feed
Hmm.
my children and
Hmm.
complain when you get back with your family."
Right. And notice that here's where the privilege kicks in. Sharon is an entertainment mogul. She's been managing her father was a big time rock lawyer
Manager.
or manager. And
Mm-hmm.
so he assigned her. So this is another thing. This is what white families have been able to do for centuries, is pass on their businesses to their children. With
Mm-hmm.
our history was wiped out. We were not allowed to build wealth or to build our
Well,
own
let's,
estates.
but
So
wait, let's
her estate
explain.
is passed.
Let's,
Right, right.
but
I
let's
went too
explain.
deep, too fast.
No, no,
Yeah, yeah.
no. But
Hmm.
let's just pause,
Yeah,
because
yeah.
not allowed
Hmm.
means so many times they burnt down our communities,
Right.
Gio. It's
Exactly.
not allowed. It's, we had communities. We had
That was
wealth.
the
We
example. Is once we
we
tried, we were
had
crushed. Yes,
wealth.
exactly. We were crushed,
And a
and the
lot of,
message was, do not create wealth, do
hold on.
not create an estate.
That was
Yeah.
the message. And a
Mm-hmm.
lot of Southerners
Mm-hmm.
have passed down their homes.
Mm-hmm.
So there was always a sense of, like,
Mm-hmm.
at the very least, let's protect our home so we can
Right.
pass it down. I still have
That's right.
clients to this day that's like, okay, we got the
Mm-hmm.
home.
Right.
What do we do with it?
Right.
Because there's still that stuff where somebody knew 2 or 3
Mm-hmm.
generations ago, this is
Yes.
wealth to us, this is
Mm-hmm.
preservation.
Right.
But most is I forgot what it's called, a beach, a Manhattan
Mm-hmm.
beach. A whole Black community was living on the water,
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
and the city took it over as, what is it, something domain, when
Oh,
they want to
yes.
build a highway through. They took
Right.
it over, never built the
Yes.
highway. Los Angeles, they just
Mm-hmm.
took it over because it was
Mm-hmm.
prime real estate
Well, they did that here in New York too. It's called the
with Central
Cross
Park.
Bronx, the Cross Bronx Expressway. They cut through communities in order to have the Cross Bronx Expressway, and those communities were never repaired again. You have families living across the street from each other. That
they do it for highways. I'm not saying it's okay.
It's not
Right. I'm not saying it's okay, but I know that they will do it to build a highway.
Right.
And in the long haul of it, the highway makes more sense. I'm not saying how they take over is okay.
Right.
But in the long haul of it, it does. You can see how, because you use the highway, you're like, well, thank God the highway's here. But the one over here in Manhattan Beach, they just took it over.
Okay. Yeah.
Didn't put anything in replace. They just wanted the blacks out. And that's not right.
Right.
But I say this to say it's the same thing with Central Park.
Right.
Where they just annihilate us. You put us together in a group, and then they think WD thinks that they can just build a whole park. Like, it's crazy to me. It's just crazy. And it's disappointing when you start. It's when you start being more educated on. It's so disappointing. Like, I'm so disappointed in the city. I grew up in New York City.
Well, if you consider now, so many people are just beginning to discover the Tuskegee event that happened in 1919. I knew a little bit about it. I heard about it. I know a whole lot more about it now. And the entire country knows a whole lot more about it now. Mostly because many Black people have decided not to take the vaccine or any of the vaccines until they're good and ready to take it, because people are learning, okay, they really have done these things to Black communities. This is recent. This is not in slavery. It's not in post-slavery. It's not in the industrial age. This was now it's 100 years ago, but this was yesteryear. This is the year my grandmother was born.
Yeah, my grandma was born in 1918. Yeah,
exactly. So, this is
my great grandmother.
Right. This is when most people are just beginning to learn these things. They're just beginning to learn about the experiments that they did on Black men, giving them syphilis, watching them go mad, and seeing how it affected generations, how they raised their children mentally. They became mentally ill. What happens when you have a mentally ill parent raising generations of children who are now mentally ill?
And monitoring their behaviors.
That's what I mean.
For 50 years.
That's right.
Monitoring their behaviors for 50 years.
I was alive when this thing ended in 1973 was when it ended. I was 7 years old. I couldn't believe that. I was like, wait a minute. I was alive when this was...
All the while pretending they're taking care of them.
So,
all the while not really telling them that they were injected with syphilis. Which brings me to Henrietta Lacks. Her blood. That reached the moon. And back again. And how they want to praise Henrietta because her blood helped find the polio vaccine. What they're not saying is that it was stolen. That's what they're not saying.
Her cells are still out there. They've been doing experiments with cancer on her cells. They're called HeLa cells.
Yes. Yeah. Well, the interesting part about HeLa or Henrietta Lacks' blood is that her blood is cancerous.
That I don't know. Go ahead.
Oh, no, her blood is cancerous cells. What's being constantly reproduced are cancerous cells. They had to come up with a whole laminar airflow stuff scientific room to take her cells and blow the air out. Because when you touch it or breathe it, you get cancer. That's the trick with HeLa cells. HeLa, HeLa.
Right.
It's cancer cells, period. It's not clean cells and they're testing it on cancer. It's cancer cells.
Okay.
But there is something about her particular cells that doesn't die. It constantly multiplies. For me, it feels like her cells are revenge cells. One day, that blood is going to turn.
Yes, there you go.
One day. But for right now, they found a way to make it work in a medical community, but not without everyone that touched that blood died. Because the way it was transported, the way it was handled, you got cancer. That's how lethal her blood is. That keeps growing.
Right.
I really believe it's because of her blood cancer became such a big deal.
I got to get more. I have to learn more about her. I have to finally watch the movie, and I've got enough movie channels now where I think I can get the film.
Well, just believe some part of what I'm telling you, which is her blood is cancerous. Period. That's it. Not clean blood. It's cancer bloods that keep multiplying, and they can't stop it. They can't stop it from multiplying. I don't think they can kill her blood. They just found a way to make it useful.
Right.
And it's extremely valuable in a medical community. And they love to say it's been to the moon and back. What difference does that make? And yet,
makes a difference. We just
it
don't
multiplies.
Right.
I get it. I get it.
Yeah.
But I think the point is, this is someone's cancerous blood. That's what I'm saying. But even in zero gravity, her cells multiply. Even in zero gravity. By the way, they never gave the family money. I think to this day, if I'm not mistaken, her blood is valuable and they've never given them reparations.
Wow. Right.
But read the book. Read the book. The book will help you.
Gotcha. I was thinking about that.
It's a really good book. We read it in my very first book club.
Oh, really? Okay.
Yeah. Which is why it's really important that when we're at the book club, we got to go back to reading. It really upsets me that nobody's reading.
Okay, we'll read, Tracy.
We have to.
This is an idea for a reality show. The real book clubs. The real book clubs of America. Because my aunt told me about some book club she was in, and it was worse than the Real Housewives of Atlanta.
Well, that's not such a bad idea. You just have to get everyone to agree to it. And I don't know about you, Gio, but I love to braid my hair during book club. I like this. Braiding my hair.
Yes.
I mean, if I could be as natural as I want to be in book club, but you know, black folks, if we start telling them we're going to book club on YouTube, you know they're going to come hooked. 11 o'clock at night, they're going to come hooked because that's what black people do.
Everybody's going to show up in their bonnets. It's bedtime. Okay, read under the covers. Yes.
No, not bonnets. We have to come in our hair.
Yes.
Not bonnets. Not bonnets. I mean, unless they want. No, I know my people. No.
Right.
No, they're gonna come fixing their hair. They got to go to the hairdresser before Wednesday.
Right.
Eat for Shay. How do you feel? She's here. Who else is here?
Hi,
How do you feel
Shane.
if we take the book club and make it into our live event?
Book clubs of America. I'll tell you later about my aunt's book club.
Crowns. She said crowns. We're
Crowns,
gonna have to come with
yes,
our
we should
crowns.
our crowns, right? That's
Even
right.
if the crown is a bonnet. You get me
That's
tired
right.
enough. What did
That's
I
right.
do to y'all the last time I left y'all? Y'all kept talking and
Oh, because
talking.
also people will fall asleep at the book club, and we
Yeah.
have to be like, so and so was snoring. We got to somebody cut her off, or make sure she's okay.
Eva Shay is all for it.
Yes, yes, yes.
Okay, so let me ask the people something, because that's a really good idea, Gio.
Uh-huh.
Let me ask the people something, the peoples. How do I take a Zoom event, and put it on YouTube? What's the best way to do that, guys?
Oh, you know what? I'll tell you. I have an idea.
Talk to me.
I have taped. There are certain events that happen on Instagram and live events that are not going to happen again, or that's not going to be saved. I have put myself on Zoom, just a meeting with myself, and then I shared the screen and recorded the meeting. And when I say I shared the screen, let's say I'm on Zoom, I share the screen of my internet. I already have my internet up, and I go to Instagram, and when the event begins, I click record on Zoom, and it records the video on Zoom. You can upload videos once you.
Okay, I'm doing it right now. Actually,
Okay.
I cast you on TV,
Okay.
right? I cast
Okay.
you on my TV, and then maybe I have to take another device.
Hey, everybody out there in TV land.
Maybe I have to take another device and upload it onto YouTube. What do you think?
I don't know the whole TV thing because I don't broadcast on a TV screen. But what I would say, because you're on StreamYard right now, that's different than Zoom. When you can take a Zoom video and you can upload that video to YouTube. You can't do it live.
But I was thinking about
Yes.
doing it live, but you're saying I should just upload it the next day.
Yeah. I don't know. I don't know how to do live on YouTube.
I know how to do that.
Yeah.
I know how to do that. I could do that then. So the live.
That way,
so
you may be able to edit something that's in it that you don't want in it.
Girl, I'm not trying to edit. No, if it's gonna be live, it's gonna be live.
Okay.
Nope. If y'all mess up, y'all just mess up. Okay, Aoife Shay, you can stream live on Zoom and YouTube simultaneously. How? You can do it live, Tracy. How? I didn't know that. So
there's a way. There's a way.
Now know there's a way. Where there's a will, there's a way, and I'm so glad to hear that I can Zoom and YouTube simultaneously. All right. Hello, Tracy. Record the Zoom and upload it to YouTube. Right.
Unknown caller.
Oh, somebody's calling.
It's always somebody early. I already know it.
You have to turn down the volume. You have to turn down the volume on the TV because I'm hearing myself echo.
Okay, Gio.
Yes.
Let's talk about, you have to link your stream key to YouTube. There's a stream key on Zoom, you're saying, to YouTube.
Tracy, I'm going to go out and I'm going to come back in, okay?
Why? Because you're fine.
the light from the screen is killing my eyes. I have to make it dark, and when I make it dark, it's gonna kick me out.
Go for it. Go for it.
Let me try it and see if it'll kick me out. Here I go. And if I don't, I'll just come back in.
On Zoom, yes, that's it. Okay, on Zoom, I need to have a stream key to YouTube. Okay, that I could figure out. And so every time I create a Zoom, I can upload immediately to YouTube. All right, I'll figure it out. I'll figure it out. I'm excited now. I'm so excited. But I gotta ask. I know you do, sweetie. You actually don't. You have to, what's your name? Oh, yeah. Action.
That's much better.
Are you good?
I'm very good, yeah. I forgot to do that. I automatically have, when Zoom comes up, it automatically comes up dark. I don't have it set to dark for StreamYard automatically, so that's okay. That's okay. But, you know, I wanted to get back to, what's her name, to Sheryl.
Yes.
And, you know, one thing I keep hearing, everybody's kind of giving her a hard time for not having nipped it in the bud during that conversation.
I've been hearing everybody's been so proud of her.
I've been hearing like different things, like, you know,
Yeah.
why didn't she, like we were saying, why didn't she check the Karen right away? And I kind of feel like,
said that. I said
Oh,
that.
okay.
Everybody
Oh.
was saying they were proud of her, and I am proud of her. Don't
Yeah,
get me wrong.
yeah.
I'm
because
totally
I feel
proud
like
of her.
if she had checked her, it would have been just another one of the, you know, the ladies of the
Good.
talk are picking
Good.
on each other.
Good. No.
But it wouldn't have
No,
been
it
as
has to
powerful if she
stop.
sat back and gave.
No,
Well,
I will not co-sign that. I will not
No.
co-sign that. I'm saying there was a
Mhm.
happy medium. And I think
Okay.
she sat back to me. This is just to
Mhm.
me. I think
Yeah.
she sat back too much. I said there could have been a nice mix of Kamala in there.
Right,
A
right.
nice mix, which is
Mhm.
shut it down. Let me talk. Like, it
Mhm.
could have been something stronger. I'm
I'm
not
glad
putting her
she
down,
didn't.
though.
I'm glad she
I
didn't.
hear you, Gio.
I think she,
but
because she
that's
gave
got to stop.
Sharon, she
She
gave
did.
Sharon the rope to hang herself. That's
But
what
she
I'm
still
saying.
could have given Sharon
Mhm.
enough rope
Mhm.
to hang herself
Mhm.
and still have ended it
Mhm.
differently. Listen, it's very
Mhm.
important.
Right.
I honor
Mhm.
how she chose to do it. I
Mhm.
honor that. What my concern is that
Mhm.
we're running into a lot of Karens.
Right, right,
That's
right,
my concern.
right,
And we're
right.
going to run into Karens with no cameras.
Mhm. Mhm.
All right. So
Mhm.
what I'm saying is I wish there
Mhm.
would have been a little bit of Kamala in that. A little bit.
A little bit. Okay.
At the
Okay.
end, at the
Mhm.
it doesn't matter.
Mhm. Mhm.
But just something to let the Karens of the world know unacceptable behavior. And you can only do that if you match their anger.
Mhm. Well, I see what you're saying. However, I think this thing has gone,
I hear you.
it's gone so much further because we actually just
Listen.
kind of sat and watched her like, are
Actually,
you
what's
serious?
done is done.
Yeah,
What's done is
yeah.
done. I'm
Right, right.
talking to future issues with that people may have. And
I
sitting
agree
back
with that. Yeah, yeah.
is
And
not the
letting them.
effective way to
Mhm.
do it.
Mhm.
Karens
Mhm.
have gone crazy. They are
Mhm.
white woman angry right now.
Mhm. Mhm. Right.
And letting them spew their hatred onto
Mhm.
you. If it's not onto you, sit back. I
Mhm.
do not agree getting involved in
Right.
something.
Mhm.
But if it's onto you,
Mhm.
it's okay. It's all I'm saying. Listen to the words that I'm using. I'm not putting
Mhm.
Sheryl down. It's
Right.
okay to match it.
Mhm.
It's
Right.
okay to say,
Gotcha. Yeah.
you need
Mhm.
to stop,
Mhm.
pull your tone down. You are
Mhm.
having unacceptable responses.
Mhm. Mhm.
That's
Mhm.
what I'm saying. And
Right. Right.
I'm going to reiterate.
Yeah.
Sheryl did a wonderful job,
Mhm.
but it's unacceptable for everyone to say that, because Cheryl's response is what people expect of people of color.
Okay.
They expect us to be submissive and hold ourselves together. I say, fuck that.
Okay.
I say, mix some Kamala into that. That's what it, do you see what I'm trying to say?
Yeah.
Mix it up.
Right.
It's okay to be reserved. It's okay to be elegant. When they keep stepping on your toes like Pepsi, excuse me. Excuse me. I am talking.
Right.
That's
And
what
same as what's her name? Maxine, Congresswoman. When she reclaiming my time.
Reclaiming my
time. I was like, go girl.
That's the point that I was trying to make. Not putting Cheryl down. My concern is that people listen to the media and people keep hearing Cheryl really composed herself. Cheryl did a really good job. Fuck that. It's not her job to compose herself when some white devil is coming to her face. No. And so that example is now going to be used out there when I'm in the grocery store. When I'm in a bank.
I see what you're saying. Right. No.
When I'm in a business meeting, they're going to expect me to tone it down. You're my friend, so I'm trying to explain. She did a wonderful job. At some point, Kamala-ized that shit. That's what I'm saying. And I will stick by that. And I'm going to tell you something else. I promise you, from this point on, no one is ever going to put Cheryl down ever again. No one. It will never happen again. She found her power. She also found her voice. You're going to watch her respond differently from this point on.
Yeah.
Because I have to be honest with you, from what I saw, she's very proud of herself. Very proud of herself. But from what I saw, I feel like she's saying, God, I should have just gave her a little bit of, a little punch. That's how I feel, and I won't take it back. That's just how I feel.
Right. Also, the privilege part with Sharon. I keep wanting to say Cheryl and Sharon, the two Sharon, and the privilege that she has. What are we noticing now that she's doing? She is a powerhouse in the entertainment industry. Wait a minute, let me finish. Right, that's what I mean. Is watch what's happening. She is pulling every string she knows that she can pull, including, and this is what's driving me nuts. Who is the black guy on Entertainment Tonight?
Kevin, whatever.
Kevin, let me give you a hand. I'll help to pull you back. He drives me nuts, that guy. And she's explaining in detail, like a lawyer. This is what I thought, and this is why I reacted. You never, ever see, or you never ever see a black person doing that, because they never had the privilege to do that.
They wouldn't let them.
And you can argue a case to the ground, to the nitty gritty, to a fine point. And she is doing her best to do that. She's saying, I panicked, and I love Cheryl, and I never would. She's been my friend for 11 years, and I thought, so now she gets to bring up the argument that this is an industry thing, and I noticed it right away, so my anger wasn't really at them. It was at the moguls at CBS, and I know how these things are done, and I noticed they were doing it to me right away. No, Sharon. No.
It still doesn't, even if CBS was setting her up. Let's just say CBS was setting her up. Even if they were, what part of composure, when you saw it, were you supposed to go, oh my God, This is a setup. And you know what you do? You shut it down.
Exactly.
You sit there and you say nothing and you look at them. And I just want to know, no comments. She would have had to have said, to be honest with you, I don't agree with peers. That is something that would have had to have come out of her mouth in order for this to really get squashed so that she can have an argument with producers later. And then I would have said, no comment. I said what I said, and I'm done. No comment. She lost it. But unfortunately, she lost it like a white woman. She was surprised.
She lost it like a British punk rocker. That was sad to see this woman.
Yeah.
Who all of a sudden turned into Iggy Pop in front of our eyes.
But isn't it always her though? When we think about all the MTV shows we watch, it was always her.
Exactly.
And so she lost it, and it was beautiful to watch in the end.
It really was. As Simon Cowell would say, it was beautiful television.
It was beautiful to watch. Because what America doesn't understand is that we're all Sheryls. We've all been a Sheryl. We've all had white privilege. I remember working at a psychic store. The busiest psychic there. Busy as hell. And I could see the disgruntled employees. She's got another phone call. And this is me. Gotta go. Get another phone call. Not realizing. Yeah, not realizing that it was a slap in the face, but I don't have to realize that. Because if you, WD, was getting phone calls, you wouldn't allow me to get disgruntled. So why am I supposed to care? In any case, the busiest psychic, and they got rid of me. Because the other WDs were jealous. Seriously.
So we've all been there.
We've all been there. And then when you have a conflict with any of them, I've watched management just want to take the side of their color. I've watched it. I've watched it. So I'm happy that Sharon exposed herself.
That's what I love that she.
Time.
Because if you say, I was set up, if you noticed it before you panicked, you noticed the setup, you don't fall into it.
She said it. She said, I know what this is. I know what this is.
Right.
And she goes, and then she takes no responsibility, right? She goes, I can't believe that Sheryl and Elaine was pulling out cards.
Right.
That's how she saw the setup, because it wasn't an authentic, open conversation. But when you saw the cards get pulled out, you go like this, zoom.
That's right.
Zoom.
So they got cards.
And you get quiet.
That's
because in my mind, I'm suing everybody. It's gonna go down. I'm suing everybody in my mind. I'm looking at all the producers. I'm clickety clacking up there, and I know exactly which producer gave them the cards even. All right? Oh, it's gonna go down after the show. And then I would quit, because then my lawyer would be on it. Trust and believe.
And what I'm thinking now, I saw a tweet from B. Scott last night, and he had a story that said what CBS is thinking of paying out their contract. And I'm like, and I tweeted back to him. Actually, I did say to him, I hope that they realize that Les Moonves doesn't run that network anymore. The one who was squashing everyone's careers. Why do they pay out racism? because
Well,
that's what it was. I understand
true.
there's contracts and everything, but
No,
they
no.
usually have something in place where, you know, somebody says or does something so wild, we can squash the contract.
But it's a cease and desist.
Mm-hmm.
So if she signs that contract and take the money,
Mm-hmm.
she can't talk about it anymore. That's why they're probably going to pay her out.
Okay. Yeah.
It is easier because once she brought CBS into this,
Yep.
they have to go, oh my God, she's going to drain our bank account. And once she starts naming names,
Yes. Mm-hmm.
people's careers are ruined.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So now, of course, I saw that in the reading. I was like, Sharon wants money at this point, and pay her. You're going to have to pay her. But what comes along with it, I'm not like a legalese, but what comes along with it is the cease and desist. And let me tell you something, that will be in detail. You can't talk about this, that, and the third, and da-da-da, da-da-da, and
you can't go overseas and talk about it.
No. The cease and desist is not going to be like, you know how they got these contracts down.
Yes, yes. Mm-hmm.
All right? And they're going to pay her more. Mm-hmm. They're going to pay her well.
Oh, wow.
I know. Yeah. I know. I hear you, sweetie. I hear you.
You know what? I understand. I'm old enough to know everything is not fair. But they get
there's
her off the show.
There's a lot.
Yes.
There's a lot at stake, though.
Yeah.
For CBS, right?
Oh,
so
yeah.
I mean, let's look at it. They had the morning person. Mm-hmm. They had to change the whole program in the morning show. Gail King became king.
Is she the king now? That's right.
They all had to become king because of some pervert they used to work with.
Oh, I forgot his name because he was on PBS for decades too. I forgot.
I don't want to know his name, but
you
know what I'm talking about.
Yes.
They can't afford another scandal.
Yeah.
And had anybody noticed Sharon is a Karen? British, what I like to put is hashtag British Sharon is a Karen. Tweet that. Tweet it. British Sharon is a Karen. What I happen to notice is that none of the talk shows are talking.
Right. I noticed that too. Because wait, here's the thing. I stopped watching a lot of television over the last month, but I still seek out The View with some of these big topics that have kind of come up. So when I'm looking at The View, what I notice with the clips that they choose, Megan is absolutely the sweetest thing you see now. She's so complimentary. Even what was it last week? Meghan McCain.
Oh, she has not caused any issues this week.
She knows how to shut up.
The evil eyes. You know how she has those evil eyes?
Yeah,
she's talking about
the hair is severe, like this.
She has the hair like it's very black, by the way. She actually keeps black hairstyles. And she has this hair.
Right. Mm-hmm.
And when I say she keeps black hairstyles, I mean the creativeness in her hair.
With the thing up at the top, coming down.
All the creativity. That's what we do. We like creative shit in our hair, right? Yeah. So I think her hairstyle is most likely black, right? Because that's a lot of weaves they put in. It's really funny what I see happening to little white blonde Megan. But she's been wonderfully nice this week.
She has been the sweetest, kindest. And what was it she said to Whoopi the other day? Like her heroes, Whoopi and Holly, what is oh God, is her name? Sunny. Like Whoopi and Sunny did. There was something sort of civil rights flavored that they were talking about and doing, and then when they switched to Whoopi was like, well, I got to do my Whoopi impersonation.
Whoopi was like, what?
On the side. Whoopi was like, okay. That was like she didn't look like. This was her.
It wasn't even discussed. It was like, oh, okay.
Okay. Like Whoopi could feel it. Like, okay, you can take your lips off my butt now. You know, that was exactly what that meant. It's like,
But it's
really?
beautiful to have a peaceful week with the View. I mean, it was just Sharon, give more secrets. You're helping us at the View. Give more. Say more. Keep on.
Say more. Cuss us out a little more.
That keeps Megan quiet.
Yes.
My God, please say more. So listen, Megan has a lot of hairstyles that's reminiscent of Black girl hairstyles, but it looks good. I applaud her hairdresser. I will applaud her hairdresser. But she keep pulling that thin blonde hair back, and she's not gonna have no edges. Wait.
Oh no, because they're snatching her edges now.
Wait. She keeps snatching those edges. She ain't gonna have none.
I can't believe it.
You can't believe I said that, right? You know it's true. Every time you look at her hair, don't you go, she's just not gonna have any hair.
But I was wondering why they were doing those hairstyles, and maybe it's because, I don't know.
Her makeup and her hair, it actually looks cute on her.
Yeah.
It's very youthful.
Right.
You know, you get to, it's like a doll's head hair, right? I used to have a doll that you just had the head.
Oh, yes.
Head, right? And you stick it between your legs, and you give that
Yes.
doll some hairstyles. And you're like, Ma, look at this, Ma. And it looks like shit because I've never was capable of becoming a hairdresser.
Oh, she looked good. She looking good.
Good, girl. You are working that hair. And you walk away like this.
It was a mess. Yes.
And that's
Yeah,
how it was
we
a mess.
had that doll
And
too.
then, remember when you grow out of it? You grow out of the head doll.
And it's just a head in the closet.
And then you find it in the closet.
Years
and
later.
It's like, you're like, what the hell? Why would anybody buy me this monstrous thing?
It was like the Barbie head, a giant Barbie head.
Yes, that's what it was. So we could mess in hair. It was called, but it was worse than a mannequin head. I could see a mannequin head. This was a head with hair. Seriously, it was one step short of voodoo, to be honest with you. One step short of voodoo. Had I known voodoo at 10, I would have stuck a needle in it.
Yep. I'm trying not to say anything.
Everybody's laughing. No. I'm serious. You know, and I had a rough mom. I had known about voodoo. I had a rough mom. I would have been like, doll and needle. I'd be like, did she curse at me one more? Oh, there it is. Johnny.
I got something for you.
If I had a wand like that,
yes,
girl, I would be pointing it at my mother, and it would be like this. Look, shut up.
Right?
If I knew magic,
I have a friend.
I'll tell you something.
I have a friend who could do that to dogs in our neighborhood. We'd walk down the street and like somebody would be like, she'd be like, be quiet, and the dog stops. She would just
command animals. Yes. Well, you know, that's a Leo trait.
She's a Scorpio.
Well, maybe
Scorpios got it all.
They got some inner thing going on that you have to be like, Scorpio? You have to say it with respect.
Right.
Scorpio?
It's like, don't give nothing past that.
A Scorpio will kill you.
With a look.
Smile at you. With the look.
With the look. Yeah. As my mother called it the wiggly eyeball. That's what she said. The wiggly. Yes.
They will smile at you, and you don't even know you just been cursed 10 times over. Scorpio.
Then why is everything falling apart in my life? Oh, I gave some shade to a Scorpio. It's like, it's over for you.
Don't do it.
Molly girl. You in trouble, girl. Yes,
Hold on. Let me see what
indeed.
Andre said. Andre, those hair and makeup jobs are hard to get, so I assume the stylist is black. True, and
Hmm.
doing their best to keep their job. Well, she does a really good. Whoever
Hmm.
does making hair, I think does a great job
Well, then
at it.
here's the other thing. She's been home. She's been home. I feel like,
Yeah,
they've been
she's
doing
in
their own.
Washington. She's in
Oh, okay.
Washington, and she's
Gotcha.
not doing her own. She is not doing that shit by herself. I promise you.
I agree. Yeah, yeah,
No, no, it is too elaborate.
yeah.
Okay, I have to go to the loo.
Okay,
I
to the
learned that
skip,
from
skip, skip.
Megan. I learned that
Right.
from Megan. We don't say bathroom. That's
Who
very
said?
ghetto. It's very ghetto, as Sharon would say. I
Don't
have
say
to
that
go
in
to the.
Britain.
I
To
have
the
to go to the
loo.
loo.
Skip to the
Um,
loo, Tracy.
but
Skip to
I
the loo.
do want you to start on Cheryl's chart. Tell me what you see.
Okay. What do
Okay.
I see? I'm looking
Tell
at
us
her
what you
chart. So
see.
if I look weird, it's because I'm not looking at the camera. I'm looking at Sheryl Underwood's astrology chart, and um, I would also like to explain that I don't have a birth time for Sheryl Underwood. I looked for it, I searched for it, I can't find it. It's not out there, not yet. So what a lot of astrologers do is they will set the chart as if she was born at sunrise, and some astrologers set it as if she was born at 12 noon. I set it for 12 noon because it makes it easier for me if I decide that I want to rectify her chart. Rectifying a chart means asking, when you ask a client a series of questions, it can lead you to a certain spot in the chart that might be where their rising sign is. Sheryl hasn't spoken to me, so I have to just figure it out myself. Not doing that now. I'm just going to do my best with what I've got with a 12 noon astrology chart. So here I go. Now, when Tracy and I were, when she said, do we want to talk about Sheryl? I said, yes, I'll talk about Sheryl. Let me look at her chart. And we were talking about Sheryl in reference to that particular event that happened on the show. And we were wondering why wouldn't she kind of hammer it home to Sharon that to stop or what have you. And when I looked at her chart, I noticed first that Sheryl is a Scorpio. She's got her sun at 4 degrees Scorpio, even at the middle of the day. So I'm pretty sure that's the degree of her sun. And as a Scorpio person, Scorpios tend to be those people who want to make things right. They want to do. If you think of that movie, Do the Right Thing, it is of the utmost importance for them to do the right thing. So, keeping that in mind with that particular event, she is a Scorpio. Second, I noticed that her moon, which is the fastest moving um, astrological body, it's not a planet, but we can say that for astrology's sake. The moon is at 12 noon on her birthday, which I never said. I'm sorry. Her birthday is October 28th, 1963. So at 12 noon on that day, that's halfway through the day, the moon was at 11 degrees Pisces. So I can safely say that her moon was in Pisces. And when I think of moon in Pisces, the very first person I think of is Michael Jackson. Michael Jackson's moon was in Pisces, and Michael Jackson, if everybody I'm sure remembers him, he was a person who it was so easy to make him cry. He would get emotional at the drop of a hat, and it was that kind of quivery kind of tears all of a sudden and crying. I say it, how much sensitivity is too much sensitivity. That's the kind of moon that Sheryl has. So already I'm seeing lots and lots of sensitivity with her. The second thing I wanted to bring up is that Sheryl has the planet Mercury, which is communication. Mercury is communication. She has Mercury in Libra. And the first thing that came to my mind is she's a peaceful communicator. And when I say peaceful, Libra is a peaceful sign. Yes, it's relationships, it's balance, it's law, but it is also the peaceful sign. When I think of Libra and I think of peace, I think of President Carter, who is President Jimmy Carter, who is a serious advocate for peace around the world. And so I just wanted to connect it to something. So her Mercury being in at the very last degree, and it's almost in Scorpio. It's only 8 minutes away from being in Scorpio. She's a sensitive, peaceful communicator who is super concerned with doing the right thing and communicating peacefully. That's what I got. I also noticed that she has 2 other planets in Scorpio very close to each other. She has the planet Venus and the planet Neptune in Scorpio. There's a lot of water with her. Scorpio is a water sign, Pisces is a water sign, and so far she's got 4 planets in water. So Venus being in Scorpio, this is a person who loves every level, from the worst of the worst to the best of the best, and she loves very deeply. She's got Neptune next to her Venus. Neptune brings a kind of romance, a kind of Hollywood, a kind of idealism, and so you really feel this ideal, deep love. I love you deeply, darling. Okay, I'm getting a little too dramatic, but that's what it's like. So, it just, and once again, connecting it to what occurred with Sharon. What we keep hearing about, from both of them is how much they love each other, that they're friends. And even though they disagree and all this stuff, and they may not be seeing eye to eye on this particular situation, we've been friends for 11 years, we love each other, but there was this incident. And so I definitely believe, I didn't really look deeply into Sharon's chart, but looking into Sheryl's chart, I definitely believe her. However, what I also see in Sheryl's chart is that Sheryl has not always had the benefit of idealism coming back at her, the same type of compassion, which is what Neptune is, the planet of compassion. Sheryl has the planet Saturn in Aquarius. When you think of Saturn, the first keywords that come to me, the first keyword that comes to me is the word no, stop, discipline, rules, blockage. And the way that the planet Saturn is connected to Sheryl's Neptune, the planet of compassion, it's, in astrology, we call it a square. And a square is an actively stressful relationship between 2 planets. Saturn dries things up, it stops things, it freezes things. And what it shows me is that Sharon has not always had, not Sharon, excuse me, Sheryl. It's the 2 Sheryl, Sharon. Cheryl. Okay. Sheryl. Looking at Cheryl's chart, in case I didn't say it. Sheryl has not always had the benefit of receiving the same idealism that she puts out. And I feel like we actually watched that happen with the event that happened between Sheryl and Sharon. Um, so, the last thing that I want to mention is that with all of this sensitivity in Cheryl's chart, she has the planet Mars in Sagittarius. Um, Sagittarius is the sign of the higher mind and lofty thoughts. You're able to experiment with higher thoughts, come up with different opinions. When Mars is there, you can for sure bet that she's going to have some very active and aggressive opinions, putting forth her opinions strongly. So even within all that sensitivity, Sheryl is not afraid to tell you all. She's not afraid to tell you what she thinks, right or wrong. And she's also receiving a bit of fuel to her Mars from the planet Uranus, which is electrifying, stressfully electrifying her Mars. She may have some strong anger in many respects, and that is what I am actually seeing, that's what protects her. All of that sensitivity, the anger that she can show will protect her, like the underbelly of who she is, all the softness. And so that's just something that fascinated me. Then because I don't watch that show, and I didn't know who Sheryl was. When I looked to get her birthday, it brought up Wikipedia, and I saw it said that she was a comedian. I said, oh, okay, she's a comedian, but I didn't go to any of her videos yet because I just kind of wanted to come here fresh, looking at her chart. And I see that, and I think, Tracey, you asked me what I might see in the future for Sheryl. And one of the things that I see, without even having looked into the future for her, is that she has Jupiter in Aries. Jupiter is the planet of comedy. And when you have Jupiter in Aries, which is where she has it, it gets a little bit more, expands that anger, expands the opinions, but it definitely expands the comedy. It's happy, it's jolly, and once again, Jupiter in Aries, you get someone who's always got many different projects going on. So I am not afraid for Sheryl if if it happens that they decide not to continue the talk show. Cheryl's got something else always on the back burner that can come up. So that's what I wanted to say about Sheryl and this situation. So, do I hear Tracey? I hear bells. Tracey, you still around?
Yeah, I'll be back.
Oh, she'll be back. I'm wondering did I ever pull up Sharon's chart? Ooh, yes, I did. Let me see. Somebody's tweeting me. Let me see if, usually I don't take a look at this, but let's take a look because maybe somebody's trying to tell me something. What are you trying to tell me? Okay, yeah, it's not a message. Okay. And one last thing. Well, I didn't find a birth time for Sharon Osbourne either. But I did pull up her chart, and what do I see for Sharon? I'm going to put some transits here too for Sharon. Let's see what's going on. I played around with her chart earlier this week because I wanted to see. I know last week I was talking about when Mars crossed the eclipse path. And let me tell you, when Mars crossed that eclipse path from the eclipse that happened on November 30th. I kept saying the eclipse was in December. It was on the night of November 29th and November 30th. On the 17th, the 16th, and the 17th, Mars crossed that eclipse path. And just as an aside, we then the next day heard the news about Harry and William and their father having a conversation. On my Instagram, I posted 4 charts. I posted a chart for the eclipse and showed you where the eclipse path was. Then you swipe over. Then I showed you Megan's chart, and that Megan has a very important axis along the same axis of the eclipse, of the eclipse path. Then you swipe over again, and I showed you, I believe it was Harry's chart, and that Harry has the planet Chiron at 8 degrees. Yes, at 8 degrees Gemini, which was where the eclipse path was. And then you swipe again, and it's William's chart, and you see that William has Mercury at that degree. Both Mercury and Chiron are communication planets. Chiron is the wounded healer. What I thought was there was going to be a conversation, some kind of communication, and that Harry would be communicating from his wound. So the next day, when the news said Harry and William talked, it was Gail King who said she called Harry, and Harry said, yes, I've spoken to my brother and my father, and the conversation was unproductive. I said, bingo, predicted it. Anyway, so back to Sharon, the British Sharon. So what I did was when I was looking at Sharon's chart, I said, you know what, let me connect her chart to that eclipse path, because what else happened with the eclipse path? All those fires that broke out when Mars crossed. Mars is fire. We had that fire up in Canada. I believe it was in Canada where the fireworks blew the roof off of that house and shook the whole neighborhood. That counts. And a friend of mine, Kiana, said that she was actually connected to that eclipse path too. She and a friend went on a walk to a restaurant that they usually go to near her job. When they got there, it was like a little shopping center that had 4 different restaurants in it. When they got there, the police were surrounding the place. All 4 places, all 4 restaurants that were in this particular little shopping area, they had all been robbed. All the windows were broken, and they couldn't get in to get lunch. That counts. But even bigger and much worse.
Unknown caller.
Was the shooting that occurred. The shooting that occurred in Atlanta with the 8 people who were shot and killed at the massage parlors. And I don't want to call them massage parlors, like how, unfortunately, they tried to make it sound like because they were Asians and they worked in facilities where people could go to get a massage. They would, the police officer tried to make it sound like, this type of work, as if they were prostitutes. Immediately is what brought to mind. But the connection, I feel like there is like, how is that connected other than the shootings? When you massage with your hands. That is Gemini and Mercury. That just hit me right now as we're talking about it. So, a lot happened with the crossing of Mars over that eclipse path for the country, because this country has a rising sign, and the exact degree is at the eclipse path. So there were some awful things that went down. So what I did was I said, you know what, Sharon, the issue that occurred with Sharon on the talk, Gemini, communication Mercury, it occurred a few days. That was the week before. I don't even remember what day it was right now off the top of my head. It was the day, a few days before, and I said, let me line up Sharon Osbourne's career point, the midheaven, as if that's where her midheaven is, at, let's say, 5 degrees Gemini. And I did set it up that way. Why did I'm still looking at Cheryl's chart. Let me pull up Sharon's chart. I thought I just did that. Sharon. Where is it? There she is. Okay, click the button. Button is clicked, giving it a moment to let me. And there we go. All right, I sure did. And when I set it up that way, this is just an experiment. It is an experiment in rectifying her chart. It all made sense that this explosion occurred in her chart, and it's also the kind of thing that can blow up your career. And this is definitely, I'm not saying it blew her career to smithereens, but it certainly did. This was certainly an explosion. This could be not a nuclear bomb like the one Megan dropped last week before, but certainly the mother of all bombs in certain ways. And let me see, was there anything else? Now, fascinatingly, this was what I was shocked at. That Sharon she's a Libra. And what was I saying about Libras? The peacefulness. So she is a Libra. She has 4 planets in Libra. But what's interesting to me is right next to, she's a little bit like Meghan Markle. This is fascinating to me. Her sun is in Libra. Libras tend to be, what is the cliches you hear about Libras? The cliches you hear about Libra, it's about balance and balancing the scales and relationships. I mean, they have good relationships, not necessarily so. What you find often with Libras is they have a difficult time balancing relationships. And that tends to be, from what I hear, what they are working at in this particular lifetime. And she has her sun in Libra. Right next to it is the planet Saturn. Stop, freeze, dry, brick wall, heaviness, being weighed down. There's skill, there is business, there is law, and one thing about Libras also is that they tend to be the hosts and hostesses. And that was what I noticed about the talk, that when she got on that show, whenever I bumped into it, because I never watched a full episode, whenever I bumped into it, I little by little started noticing that Sharon was in the middle. It's like, what is she doing in the middle? You have all these, I noticed, it was like you have all these, beautiful, wonderful, articulate, young Black women, ethnic women, and then there's the old white lady in the middle. And, it can happen, but it just felt like it happened so quick, and in this era that we are in, why is she positioned as the queen there? That's what it always looked like to me. And I see here,
Good point, Gio.
I see here her son next to Saturn. Saturn is a leadership planet. It's a planet of the executive. So I'm not surprised that all of a sudden she became the lead host, the executive host. Probably wouldn't have been long before she became the producer of that show, and I'm not joking. Um, it definitely speaks volumes about her inheriting her father's business and business know-how. That is Sharon Osbourne's story. Wait, let me see. I'm going to see. Where are you there? Oh, you're back. Okay. Oh, wait, you just cut yourself off again, Tracy. I was going to say hi, Tracy. All right, here we go. Let me back back to Sharon. It's okay. I'm back. I'm not looking at you anymore, Tracy.
No. I put you solo because I meant to put you solo, but I walked away so quickly that I didn't put you solo. So I apologize.
That's okay. That's okay. I don't know if you have any questions
but I did hear. Yeah, I did hear what you said about like why did she become the queen bee?
It was weird to me, and like I said, I don't watch that show really, but I noticed stuff like that.
Yeah, no, that's a really good point. I believe that it was strategic.
Saturn is strategy also.
Oh. So I believe that she was setting the stage to be the queen bee. HBIC. She was setting the stage.
Yeah.
And I think part of her meltdown was because she was the HBIC.
Gotcha. Right. Very
So
much part of
this for her was a coup.
Notice how she automatically brought it to business. She wasn't even thinking about the actual conversation going on. Saturn is business. She said, I felt myself being set up, and it wasn't the conversation. It was the business. But I'm going to tell you something else. Once again, Saturn is the planet of dark-skinned people. It is what brought her up. Saturn is heavyweight. It is what's bringing her down. It's gravity.
I think it's perfect what you're saying. I love to see what you say astrologically, right?
Yeah.
Because sometimes conversations just don't make sense, right? To be honest with you. It just doesn't. Even you and I were talking earlier, and I was like, no, Sheryl could have handled it one step further. And you were like, no, she did a good job, right? But you can't mess with the stars. And so when you were talking and I was listening, and we got to the point where I just thought it interesting that she plucked them off for years, one by one.
Yes, she did.
For years, one by one. Being, the one that's a lesbian, excuse my language, guys, Sarah. She created the show.
Sarah Gilbert, that's right. Okay.
Sarah Gilbert.
Yes.
However, if Sharon sees her as a lesbian, she doesn't count. Pluck.
Really?
Pluck. No, she doesn't. Sharon's mind.
Okay.
If she sees her as a lesbian, which she did, that has no value. She already called her out her face. So she has no value.
Yeah, she's still doing on this show.
So Pluck.
Sharon, right. But that's what I mean.
Because she's making herself the HBIC. So if she has business acumen, which she does, it's easy to pluck them off one by one. They're actors.
Right.
They don't have business minds.
That's right.
There's a difference. Right. So she plucks off Sarah, right?
Yes. Mm-hmm.
Holly's too easy, right? The
Mm-hmm.
black girl, that's too
Right.
easy.
Mm-hmm.
Leah might be white, but Leah has some Scientology issues,
Mm-hmm.
and she thinks Leah's ghetto.
Mm-hmm.
So, boom, you mention the word ghetto, boom, you don't exist to her,
Mm.
right?
Mm. Right.
Right?
That's right.
Judy Chen and her husband begin to screw up. Well, we can't have Judy Chen as the lead anymore, right? So,
How many
how
people did she
much of
do?
all of that,
Yeah.
but how much of all of that behind the scenes
Right. Right.
was Sharon controlling
Right.
until it got down to two black women who she had no fear of?
Mm-hmm.
Two black women brought her down and they sandwiched her in. And she had no fear of black.
Mm-hmm.
She had no fear of color. They were beneath her.
Mm-hmm.
So when you say Saturn is the people of color, it all makes sense how she fell so easily.
Mm-hmm.
Because she kept plucking people off based upon her dislike for this, that, and the third. And the
Yeah.
two black women that were left, they didn't bother her.
Unknown caller.
Mm-hmm. Right.
They did not bother her,
Mm-hmm.
you know?
That's right. I forgot to
Yeah.
mention Saturn is the father. So Saturn sitting right next to Saturn is the father, and the sun is the father. Also, it's two ways of seeing the father in a person's chart. So much of her father's energy was put into her, and it is
Mhm.
strategy and status. She is the boss. She,
Anjay's calling it the best. She goes, I love your emoji, by the way. She goes,
mm-hmm,
oh, she treated them like talent
mm-hmm.
while she was
She was
always in
in
manager
manager mode.
mode, like she
Mm.
was used to doing with her husband. She was
And right, and
always
all
in management mode.
other groups that she managed. That's right, Ante. Yes, yes. Mm-hmm. She was always in
Hmm.
charge of men. It was always rock groups. So she's not afraid to deal with the top of the rock music industry, which is all men. She's not going to be afraid of a bunch of women.
Mm. And why? Look at the industry.
That's right.
Let's be realistic, guys.
Mm-hmm.
Look at the industry.
Mm-hmm.
Women fall on the sword every single time.
Mm-hmm.
And she has a man's mind.
Sure does. And she speaks like a man. Speaks like a sailor.
Speaks like a man,
Like a
thinks
truck
like a
driver.
man,
Mm-hmm.
curses like a truck driver, curses like a sailor. But
Mm-hmm.
what's interesting is the
Mm-hmm.
chart where if Saturn rules people of color, and you've been saying that,
Right.
it's fascinating to me
Mm-hmm.
how she eventually fell on the sword.
Mm-hmm.
And two
And,
people of
and,
color took her down.
and the issue was color, the skin color.
And the issue was color.
Mm-hmm.
Double-edged sword then.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. But
It was
I
a
say
sword with spikes.
right. The issue, I use the word, the full word skin color because Saturn rules the skin for everyone, but it tends to very much
Mm-hmm.
resonate with people with dark skin. So yes, yes indeed. Oh my Lord, goodness. Let me see
That's
what else.
beautiful.
Hmm? So yeah, I was looking at her chart, Tracy, and I don't have the birth time for her either. But you know, there are things popping out. She also has the same thing that Cheryl has. They both have Mars in Sagittarius, which is the strong, incredibly strong, active. Pushing forth of your thoughts, opinions, philosophies, and it can be done in an aggressive
Mm.
way, in an aggressive manner. So all of
Yes,
that is there,
absolutely.
And it's a possibility that Sharon's moon may also be in Gemini, which is a communication sign, correspondence sign, the hands again. What was it I was saying about the hands? No, I was talking about Harry and his brother and something about the hands. I can't remember what I said. But
Okay.
but there's also in Sharon's chart, I see the oh gosh. Ooh. When you have in any chart, let's say you have a boyfriend that you're a guy you're interested in,
Yeah.
Tracy,
Yeah.
and you have his astrological chart, and you say to me, you know, how do we look compatible? One of the things that I would look for is if I put the two charts together, I put his planets around your planets, or the
Right.
way around, put the one
Right.
chart over the other one. If I see stressful relationship between the planets Saturn and the planet Uranus, there's going to be breakup issues. Constant. You might get back together, but there's going to be constant breakup issues. What were you just telling me
Yeah.
about Sharon? Well, let me tell you what I see. She's got an incredibly strong Uranus Saturn square. The square is a tense relationship between both of those planets, and with it being her sun being right next to Saturn in that mix, breakups, 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 breakups.
Mm-hmm.
She is the one who was causing all these breakups at the show. People being kicked off. They're breaking up with the show. It's her energy.
Mm-hmm.
If I put your chart together with the man that you're interested in, if I saw that, I would say, you know what, this is going to be a stressful relationship. I can't say that it won't work, because there might be some people who really, really dig the drama of breaking up, getting back together, breaking up,
I
getting back
hate
together.
that. I hate
But
that.
it won't stop.
So exhausting.
Incredibly exhausting. Right. Yeah. So that's what she has, that naturally in her chart, which is probably something she needs for the job of being a manager in the rock music industry. You need to
Mm-hmm.
be able to cut people off. You need to be able to tell, you know, these young up and coming band members, you can have this group, but this dude doesn't have enough talent. Get a new drummer. If it was the Beatles she was running, she would say, you guys need to get Pete Best out of here. We know a guy named Ringo who works up the street. Why don't you guys meet this guy and see if you like him? She has to be able to do stuff like that. And that is a tool
Yeah.
for her. However, it continues on. And I'm trying to remember back. I didn't watch that show regularly, the reality show that she did with her family. One of my stepmother was really into the show, and my father too. I was surprised, but I'm trying to remember if there was anything. Maybe people out there remember what what that was about, and I can't remember her in anything else. But we saw what happened, and then she became the one broken up with this week, and it's always a big breakup. This is a big breakup, isn't it? In the
Mm.
media and whatnot. So she's
It's
got,
a big breakup.
it's a big breakup. Yes, yes. And I was trying to find what would, and I also found the part of her chart that allows her to speak the way she does. She speaks like a truck driver.
Mm.
Her Mercury, and
Mm.
why people just accept it from her, because
Where's her Mercury? Where's her Mercury?
her Mercury, interestingly enough, is also in Libra. It's right next to Cheryl's Mercury. It's right next to, so they communicate similarly, but the
Well,
placement of
yeah.
Sharon's Mars gives, it fuels her Mercury, and it fuels her Mercury in a way that makes her feel like she can swear like a truck driver, and that people for all of these decades have found it charming for some reason. That's the Libra factor. Not many women can get away with speaking the way that she does and even make a career out of it.
Yeah. Yeah. So I love a good cursor. Man.
Right.
I love anybody that could curse. I'm just wondering if Sheryl and Sharon match either via Mercury or via Mars. You know, Sheryl is a comedian.
Right, right.
So comedians curse. They got it in them. They got all that in them. So they might have been very compatible then.
I'm showing that their communication style was compatible. And it could also be it could also be the trigger that made Sharon immediately flip to I'm being set up. I'm showing that Sharon she may have some psychic instincts.
Oh yeah. You could see it in her face. She knew right away. But listen.
Okay. Yeah.
At Tiffany's tuition,
oh, you're right. We gotta go.
It's starting right now. Wait. I want to show them. Look what she's showing right now.
Okay.
How pretty is that?
I was gonna say, Tracy, why you gotta show the people? Why you gotta show? I know why you.
I don't know.
It's fun, people. You gotta go. You gotta go. But that means I'm missing.
Tuition. It's live right now. It's live right now. So get going.
Yes, at Tiffany Intuition on Instagram. It's a live auction right now. Go.
At Tiffany Intuition. Come join us. All right, Gio, I gotta go. Love you.
Okay. I gotta go. I gotta beat you up on her auction. I'm gonna get you, Tracy.
Love you.
Trying to find my stuff. Bye, everybody.
Girl, I got 3 laptops. Good luck. 3 of them.
Okay, bye.
Bye.